Welcome to the Manistee Local Podcast, and welcome back to our loyal subscribers, and a warm welcome to all of our new listeners. This podcast is brought to you by our amazing sponsors who make it possible to bring us high-quality content each and every week. We want to extend a big thank you to them for their continued support, and if you enjoy this podcast, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Your feedback means everything to us and helps us continue to improve. Also, real quick, I want to take another moment to mention how our sponsors contribute to the quality of our production. Their support allows us to invest in better equipment, top-notch guests, and research, which in turn leads to even more engaging and informative episodes. So once again, thank you to our sponsors, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoy the show. Cheers.
Because he's not here to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was almost perfect timing. I don't want to get that like about a fist away.
Voila.
Yesterday I was telling that you were coming on, and I said that you had mentioned that, you know, is it time sensitive or whatever, and I said I get that he's busy, he's got a lot of shit going on, and Les said you should tell him that sounds like a you problem. And I said, and so he explained it to me, the joke. And I said, "Do you think he'll get it?" And, so I'm just gonna blast you with it.
That's my son's favorite saying. That sounds like a you problem. I'm like, really? Like, did you have to be me incarnate? Like,
yeah, no kidding. So we're gonna talk about stuff.
Talk about stuff.
We're talking about stuff. I love your talk about stuff.
I need to get back at it. I've been slacking.
It's been a minute.
I've been slacking a little bit.
You're super brave at it though, because I'm not big on the live stuff. Because every now and then I could probably detonate, and I don't want to do that. And
yeah, or get the part where you're just like completely brain dead, and you like sit and stare at the screen, and you're like, I got nothing.
Yeah, you know, or do that thing where you're just like, I'm just waiting for people to come on.
Exactly. Trying to say hi to everybody that's on. And
yeah.
Or when you get to like, okay, I don't know how to pronounce that name. Sup, dude?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I just like the way you recap everything and let people know how things are going, and how are things going. What's new? What's good?
Man, dude. Growing pains are real. We're just at that weird 8-year crossroad of, you know, trying to get back into distribution, and then, you know, all of our equipment, you know, we've never had a state-of-the-art brewery to begin with, so all of our equipment is breaking. You know, this morning woke up to cold water again, so got to get in the box and figure out why the heating element isn't turning on and all that jazz. So, you know, so right now I got my guy, Glover's there transferring water into the boil kettle so we can get it hot so we can still brew today. So, I mean, man, things are great. We're blessed. It's crazy.
This episode is brought to you by Just Clean, Manistee's premier car wash located at 146 Cleveland Street, or just north of the US 31 bridge. Look, if you're anything like me, you're not going to spend an hour or two in the hot summer sun in your driveway trying to wash your vehicle. I don't have time for that. So I always take my truck to Just Clean. I choose their ultimate car wash, which includes a triple foam conditioner, a ceramic coating plus wax, and a 60-second heated blow dry. They are the only car wash in town offering the ceramic coating. For my money, I choose Just Clean, and I hope you do too. This episode is brought to you by Chapo's Northside Bar, voted best burger and wings in town. Yeah, you heard that right. If you're going to go out for a burger or wings or both, you might as well go to the place that's voted the best. The best. Why wouldn't you have anything less? Look, and if you're not down for a burger or wings, that's cool. They've got salads, wraps, and sandwiches also. And this summer, it's going to get wild, because on June 24th, it kicks off their summer concert series in the parking lot. Live music, folks. And guess what? It's free. Yeah. Come down for the music, stay for the fun, enjoy the best burger and wings in town. Chapo's Northside Bar.
Easy. You know, people are great. You know, it's just like you, man. You have an idea and you see it come to fruition, and then you just see what it turns into by itself. You know, it's you know, things that you didn't plan for that happen, and you just kind of let it go. And you know, it's kind of like your kids. You know, you just let it go and see them. You're there for support, but
yeah. You know, and I think a lot of that comes to like how hard you want to put their foot on the gas.
Yeah,
because
absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You know, do you want to own the world, or do you want to just carve out your little corner?
Yeah. What do you want to do? Because it seems It seems to me like you want to carve out your little
I think,
corner.
that's more my style. Yeah, owning the world was 20-something me, and I'm too tired for that. 40-something me is like, maybe not the world.
I feel you. One of the things that I always, number one, I think about it a lot because I get hit with it a lot. How come you don't have any Starving Artist beer?
That's going to change. That's going to change soon. So I brought you some samples.
Yeah, we should have a beer right now. I mean,
I would love that.
Let's have a beer.
A morning beer. You want sour or you want stout?
Ooh, I'll take a stout. I haven't had breakfast yet.
Voila.
What do we got here?
I'm going to join you.
Ooh, coconut.
This is our coconut coffee milk stout, one of our best sellers. It's going to be one that's going to be in distro. So yeah, man, Starving Artist is going to get back on the market. Of course, like everything, we wanted it to be a year ago, and then we wanted it to be the beginning of the month, and things just keep getting in the way. And we're getting the daily reminder that we still don't know everything about what we're doing. So so we gotta learn.
Is it a keeping up with the volume that you're doing at the brewery, and being able to?
We've done some cool things. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, man.
Breakfast of Champions.
So,
God damn, that's good.
That is yummy. I need to drink beer out of a can more often. That's quality control right there.
Yeah, you betcha.
There's a few things that we've always kind of had the overall mentality of, in order for us to do it the way we're doing it, like only being open to the public 10 hours a week, other breweries are open 10 hours a day, so how do we do that and be a sustainable business? And part of that is by being creative and keeping fixed costs low, so you get creative in how you do things, watch the market for, so we have a 10-barrel mash tun now, and the beer we're drinking, we just did our first double batch of that. So volume-wise, it's not going to be a problem once we get this new system dialed in. But right now it's more because we are keeping fixed costs low, and we're having just crazy issues of equipment breaking, and it's just that we're 8 years in now as of June, which is crazy to think about. That's nuts. You're not that far behind that, are you?
I mean, we're going into our 6th summer.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's like we're just trying to figure it all out, because the last thing I want to do is get out on the market and then be like, oh, we weren't ready again.
Yeah. Because you're doing all the canning yourself.
Yeah.
And is it still hand can?
Nope, we got a little canner now. It's made in Grand Rapids, and a little micro canner, and I love that thing, man. I love that thing. No more hand seaming. No more hand seaming. That's like the best thing ever. So we can kick out, I don't know, 20 plus cases an hour on that thing. Good. So it's not, I mean, for our size, that's all we need.
Maybe
for now, right? Yeah. For now. But we're gonna distro a little bit different. I don't know if I've even talked to you about that.
No, let's get on it, because I'd love to hear it.
So we're doing it a little bit different, which I'm super stoked about. Nobody's ever done it. Alliance, our distributor, is on board, which is really cool. And so basically, we made a part of our website called Bob. And
okay,
Bob,
I remember this starting.
Yep. And then it kind of fell off because we ran into some hiccups. Because again, nobody's ever done it this way, so we're just trying to figure out the logistics of it. We're now, if we have the beer, we've got the website's ready to go. We just need the beer. And Bob is Buy Our Beer. It's a little robot version of me, and it's what it is a live inventory of what we have available for distribution. So, as opposed to the alternative, more traditional style of distributor puts in an order for 100 cases and 30 kegs, and you fill that order.
Right.
We're so small, I don't want to rob our house of that inventory. So we say, go on, get the password, go on, look and see what we've got. You can you can reserve it on the website, and then we tag it, we send it to Alliance, and it comes to you. So it's a little bit longer of a wait, as far as like you're not going to be able to order it today and have it tomorrow, but but it's a way for us to make sure that the quality is top notch, that it's fresh beer that you're getting. We know exactly where our beer is going, which is
dope.
Which is awesome, right? So we can get thank you cards out there and that kind of thing, and so it's a little bit against the grain, but for a brewery our size, I think it's, and it might not work for everybody, but we don't have enough beer for everybody anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I think from a shop owner's point of view, that landscape of ordering is changing anyways. I mean, the majority of my orders I do myself.
Right.
And I have since the beginning, and that's because I'm going to do this. I'm not going to have somebody come in and order for me. But since we've opened the store, all of the distributors have gone to some form of online, click and purchase.
Yeah. I mean, it's changing, and, is it going to be perfect right out of the gate? No, but, I mean, I'd rather be on the cutting edge of something new, that a brewery our size could say, that's always the big question is, do you give it up for distribution or do you give it up for, there's nothing worse than selling something at a small margin and then telling your retail customers, sorry, I don't have it. I had to send it to, Muskegon.
Now the price is going up.
Right, exactly. And so this way it allows us to control how much distribution we have or want. And we can ramp it up a little bit on the off season, and then in the summer, you might go on and log on and see that there's nothing available right now. We're sold out right now.
Yeah.
And I think for us, I think that we're so small that I think it'll work.
It's 100% going to work. I think it's wonderful.
Right. For anybody that doesn't want to order it that way, there's 3 people that do.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, and no disrespect to any of the distributors out there that have these massive portfolios, anyways.
Right.
And you're leaving it up to a salesperson who's passionate. You hope they're as passionate about your product as they are.
Oh, exactly.
They're as passionate about your product.
Right.
As you are.
And that's not realistic.
Yeah.
And they've got to be that passionate about 1,000 SKUs.
Right.
Right.
So the freshness part of it's really rad because, like, with that passion, it's sitting in a warehouse with 1,000 other SKUs, like you just said.
Exactly.
And how long is it? And then all of a sudden, it's a fire drill. Oh, we got to get this. We got to get this fucking beer out of here. It's got like 2 weeks left of freshness.
Yeah, and it's and for me, I want to know. I want to know that the first can of CCR that you got was was as fresh as it can be.
Yeah.
Not we've had multiple times this has happened back when we were in the distro game when we were exclusively distributing, where you get something checked in on Untapped or a horrible score, and it's like, well, yeah, of course it's a horrible score. That hop Marley, we haven't brewed hop Marley in 2 years. Why did you check that?
Yeah.
And it's been sitting in a gas station in Baldwin, that's 90 degrees, and so somebody's first experience with our product is a beer that's not been handled correctly,
right?
And there's nothing worse than having that first time customer taste something and be like I'm never drinking that. I'm never drinking Starving Artist again. That's awful. Of course it's awful.
Yeah, and that's
so hopefully this is a way for us to between it being fresh and us being able to have that direct line to the customer, we're not asking our distributor to do that. We're going to pick up the phone and say, hey, how's it selling? Are you happy with the product? Are people buying it? That kind of thing. And we can do the random stops by and see where it's placed and that kind of thing. And so more or less it's a digital salesperson. We call it our digital distribution assistant or something like that. Bob. And
that's
and so that way it's a guy like me can't afford to pay somebody to be on the road selling our beer all the time, but I can be on Facebook pushing it, or I could be on or we could be on our website saying, hey, or email blast of the repeat customer saying, hey, just uploaded more beer, go get it, kind of thing.
I know you get asked all the time. You have to, because when customers come in here and they're looking for your beer, and I'm like, well, he's not in distro right now,
right?
And I know you just said you wanted to just carve out a little space. Could that little space be a little bit bigger?
Of course it could be, right? I mean, if I ever want to retire, it probably has to be. But I don't know. I think we've always had the mentality of organic growth.
Sure.
Grow with cash, not credit. It's
hell yeah, dude.
It's the long road
game,
right?
Yep.
It's the long road, but if we're focused more about customer experience and quality of products, then I kind of feel it. I always told people that with our product right out of the gate, if the people out there like Dave at Founders or Larry Bell or if for any reason Ken Grossman would ever get his hands on a can of our beer or whatever, right? If we were making a product and developing a brand that made those guys proud, then the rest is going to be easy, right? Yeah. I set out more to impress the people, because we're blessed to be a part of an industry that was built by people who took substantial risks. Ours was kind of, an educated jump, right? We bought into an industry that was flourishing. These guys created the industry, right? Yeah. So we're very blessed to be a part of a cool industry that these guys built. So my logic was always, if I can do it the right way, do it the slow way, and make these guys proud that we're the new kids on the block, but we're also paying homage to to the bricks that have been laid before us, right?
That's fucking rad.
And but it just means slow.
Yeah.
Tortoise in the hare, right?
Yeah.
Just slow.
So
work out kinks.
Yeah. I mean, that's the mindset I like to take. I'm going to dial that back. That's the mindset that I take. That's not necessarily the mindset that I like to take. That's the mindset that my wife and business partner likes to take.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a risk taker, where she's very risk averse, which kind of helps with what we're doing.
Yep.
Because much like you, this has been a bootstrapped operation, and we do everything with the cash that we earn and put it back into
from the
business.
ground up, man.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
To go to the bank.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And say, I get this much money? Yeah, dude.
Because winter is real, man.
Winter is real, son, and it's
winter is real.
And in our communities, it's a tough deal. And God, do I want to expand fast? But I know that if I'm going to do it right and I'm going to be successful, I can't just put it all out there.
Right. And then you're working every day to service your debt, and that's stress that we don't need.
I don't want to be in anybody's pocket.
Right. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And I don't want you to be in anybody's pocket. Mm-mm. But man, I can see it with you. I'm
dude, every day.
Stroke yet, but
every day, dude.
Dude.
Every day. Do you need an investor? Had it just 2 days ago. Guy picking up beer. You need an investor? I'm like every day.
Here's the thing, man. I get the same shit, right?
Oh, I bet.
And it's maybe, but you got to be able to shut your fucking mouth and let me do my thing, because I'm not in anybody's pocket.
You want to give me money?
Yeah.
Sure, but
we agree to terms.
There's no meeting of how you're going to tell me how to do this.
Yeah, see, that's where
does
me and
not
you are
work well with others.
No, exactly.
Been self-employed almost my entire adult life.
I will do this all by myself.
Right, exactly. The Starving Artist way is find the hardest way possible and make it harder. And it may be wrong, but it's our way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think my guys hate me for it.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure you're sick of talking about this, but I haven't talked to you since you had the break-in. What the hell is up with that?
Well, I mean, they caught the kids.
They did. Okay, it was kids.
Yeah.
Now, were they the ones responsible for the other break?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were there 2 or 3 more instances?
There was quite a few.
There was a few. Okay.
Yeah,
man, I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry for the kids. So they got a shit upbringing.
They made their bed, though.
Yeah, they got to sleep in it. And I think they are right now.
You either play the hand you're dealt, or or you don't. And unfortunately for those kids, they didn't play the hand that they were dealt. They just went along with it, and it sucks.
It does suck.
It sucks.
But I mean, at the end of the day, for myself and for a few of the other business, I mean, money's money. I don't care if it's a few $100s or a couple $1,000. But there were some other people that got hit much harder.
That sucks, man. That's terrible.
Suck. And you're not going to get the fucking money back.
No.
For me, it wasn't even an insurance claim. It wasn't high enough.
Right.
I mean, it was high enough. It was like $1,200.
Yeah, but are you
going to deductible's $1,000?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then your premiums are going to go up.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not worth it. But it's just that uncertainty of every morning you come in. I'm sure for a while, our windows all going to be there, right? And it's
dude, because I didn't come to work that day until it was closer to, I think it was a late start day for me, It was still morning, but it was like 8:30ish.
Yeah.
And that front window was busted through for hours. And I saw it. I came into the stoplight, and I turned and looked, and I go, something's not right. And I turned the corner. I'm like, you got to be shitting me.
Come on, man.
Yeah. And before I knew it was, I thought, God, is somebody targeting me?
Right.
Right. Why not?
Absolutely.
And, yeah, it was rough. It was rough for a while. At first it was like, I took the high road, but then after a little while, mentally, even though I knew it was kids, I'd be laying in bed at night, like, God, was everything all right with the store?
Yeah, right. Like, maybe I should drive down there and just check on it real quick.
Just check on it, and some of my team members that live just as close as I do to the store, they would come back around and drive through for a while, so.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I love downtown Manistee, though.
Man, that takes beach ball sized balls to do it right next to the cop shop.
Oh,
too.
These kids had beach sized balls too. The surveillance on them was it was like watching a movie.
All for some Fireball?
I mean, I think that was that was their drug of choice. It was right there in front of the window. It could have been anything. I had some champagne there. They
delicious.
I mean, they were coordinated. They were, they had lookouts, and they were looking up at the police, which is wild. The cop shop is right there.
Exactly. Dude. It's right next door. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. That's crazy.
I don't know.
That's nuts.
One of the things I wanted to do while we were sitting and chatting is taking a little bit of a rollback.
Yeah.
We've sat down and kind of fucked around on this for a couple of years now, but this is the first time we've actually had like a conversation about you and your brewery, really.
Yeah, sure.
So you've been at it for 8 years there. So I would say like the first time I met you was in Ludington at like the Burfest or whatever behind Westco.
Yep.
And I think I was working for Imperial Beverage at the time.
That's right, man. Oh,
and
man.
I'm like,
wow.
who the fuck
that was the year with all the mud puddles.
Yeah, dude.
Like, yeah, man.
You were sloshing around, and people were saying, you got to try this guy's beer. And, obviously I did. I sampled a lot of beer that day. But it blew me away then, and you still blow me away with your
crazy,
beer. Like,
man.
Where does talk about the name Starving Artist and kind of give people like a nice overbrush of where it started.
In a nutshell, the quick story is, and thank God we are Starving Artist and not the name that we had originally come up with. I had a homebrew logo. I called my homebrew Ghetto Brew,
Jesus
and I'm like,
Christ.
we probably can't call our brewery Ghetto Brew, but I spelled it like faux, right? Ghetto. Like
you grew up in the
AUX, right? Exactly. The ghetto of Ludington, right? And so I had tried really hard to keep. I had just made a cool logo for my homebrew, and I really wanted to keep that as part of it. So our first name was going to be called Good Bellies.
Good Bellies.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy we were not Good Bellies. I don't think we would have had the same trajectory. So my brother hated the name. Hated the name. He's like, what is it? I'm like, well, it's just, I'm trying to keep my logo. He goes, that's dumb. No, I hate that. And then my brother-in-law, so my wife and I owned an art gallery downtown for almost 10 years before we started the brewery. And so over Thanksgiving dinner, my brother-in-law said, why don't you call it Starving Artist? That's what you are anyways. I'm like, wow, you're brilliant. And I'm sure he was making fun of me, yeah, it was brilliant. I think I actually texted my lawyer on Thanksgiving, like, Happy Thanksgiving, man. If you're not doing anything, could you check and see if this is available? So Starving Artist is kind of a tie back to our previous self-employment with the art gallery, and the jump was made because I was a craft beer enthusiast. Back when there was like 40 breweries in the state. Yeah. Now there's 800
every
good
town's
Lord,
got
every
one.
day every town's got 8.
Every town should have at least one. I think.
Oh, 100%.
A communal space.
I mean, I think that there's actually hard data out there that proves that a microbrewery can revitalize a downtown.
Yes, hell yeah. Dude.
And I mean, look at Muskegon. That's a great success story with Unruly and Pigeon Hill there.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, the downtown was garbage.
Yep.
And then those guys open up, and now look at it. And I mean, maybe it's not single-handedly them, but man, you can't deny that there was a catalyst, with those guys. So And so I was craft beer enthusiast, and I brewed in the barn that the brewery's in right now. I brewed in the barn, and Michelle just said, we knew that the art gallery wasn't going to be our forever thing, because an art gallery in Ludington, man, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard. And so we were discussing future plans, and Michelle's suggested, seeing if the county would let us open a brewery in the barn. And so we made a checklist of sorts that's like, okay, well, here's the things that are going to need to happen if we're going to be able to get this off the ground. And slowly just kept checking them and met with my banker. I think my banker called me and said, and you know Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Jordan. I love you, Jordan.
Shout out to Jordan. Was Les your lawyer 10 years ago?
No. I don't even know if I can call Les. I don't know if I can call Les my lawyer or not. I don't know if
he's not. I think he's
my lawyer friend.
Yeah.
I love that man.
And your lawyer.
I love that man. I finally found somebody as angry as me.
No way. No, he's angrier.
I love it when we get angry together.
Having him on this would be rad. He'd never do it.
I know.
He would never do it.
Oh, come on. We gotta talk him into it. Yeah. That would be fun.
He's gonna see this.
I'll buy tickets. But yeah, Jordan called me. He's like, "Hey, I hear a rumor. Are you thinking about starting a brewery?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you have a business plan?" I'm like, "Yeah."
And he said, "I like to drink beer."
Right, exactly. He's like, "Come talk to me." And so went in, gave him the business plan. He goes, "We got you." I'm like, "All right." And so I called my wife from the elevator at West Shore Bank, and I'm like, "I think we're gonna own a brewery." Like, this is crazy, So. The rest is, there's like anything, right? There's always hiccups. Yep. And, the county was great at the beginning when it was distro only. They had no problems with that. It was just kind of more of a...
Yeah, you make it and
make it and ship it off, but as soon as we, 2019, as soon as we wanted to start serving pints, that was not so easy. The county did not like that idea at all.
But it ended up happening.
Yeah. In a nutshell, there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of stress, a lot of, but more or less, we went to a meeting. We thought we were going to be denied.
Yeah.
But there was a thing that the county's lawyer caught something that basically said if we hadn't checked a box on our original... If we hadn't checked, when you're filling out your paperwork with the state of Michigan.
Yeah, you checked that box.
I checked that box. There was a box that I checked that just said tap room.
Yep.
And I checked it. So according to the state of Michigan, we already had a tap room. Mm-hmm. And I checked it because it was people are going to be able to try samples if they come in and fill growlers and everything. I don't know if I should call that a tap room, right? Like, kind of feel like I should call it, that was my logic in checking that box at the beginning. It was like, and had we not checked that box, we would have been denied that day. But because we checked that box, it put us in a category of extremely unique, circumstances, and the board found in our favor. So we need to get some. We're going to get some more hops planted this year. So you'll start seeing, if you're a frequenter of Starving Artists, you'll see some changes this year. It'll be a lot greener.
Hell yeah, dude!
So that'll be kind of fun.
The tap. But you're still only going to be the 10 hours a week.
Summer will be 15 hours a week.
And that's obviously that's got to be for staffing.
Nope. It's 100% family. Because it's at our house.
Yeah.
It's tough to tell the kids.
Let's move that shit to a bigger place.
Right.
I know.
Baby steps, man. Baby steps.
I know.
And because the beer geek in me / if I could be anything I wanted to be, right? What I set out to build that I didn't feel like we had many around the state is that New England feel of those farmhouse breweries. You got Hill Farmstead,
dude.
You got Alchemist, you got Treehouse, where at the beginning it's in a pole barn with a dude in a safety vest with a sign that just says beer this way, right? And to build something that people will drive to experience, right?
They're doing it,
right?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's awesome.
That's crazy. That's more of what we set out for. It wasn't, of course, the only reason to be in business is to make money. Otherwise, you can't do it, right?
Can't do it.
You got to have the good business sense too, but that's not why we do it. The money side is, and believe me, we're still starving artists.
Yeah.
We're still starving artists. But it's that affirmation, right? Of like, we're doing something that people think is cool. And that is like the best pat on the back that you could ever get.
Dude, it's
right.
The best.
That's like when you see, things that happened organically that I never, like, I'd say if you've never been a starving artist, the number one quality of our business, and I never would have expected this, and it's not anywhere in my business plan, it was never anywhere in my thought process, it just happened organically. I would challenge you to come and have a beer at Starving Artist and not meet somebody you've never met before.
Oh, I mean,
it's impossible to sit at Starving Artist and not get into a conversation with you, because our regular is going to be like, "Who are you? We don't recognize you."
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just the setting. It feels more like you're at a backyard party than you are at a commercial establishment, right? So you end up with this community, and this this social atmosphere of there's been so many small world stories, like, the dude's wearing a hat and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Is that in Boston?" He's like, "Yeah, I work for it." He goes, "Wait, my buddy John?" He's like, "Yeah, that's my boss." It's like, what? This dude's from California, this dude's from Boston, and that happened at in our backyard. And if they had been at any other brewery, they would have been sitting at their tables or sitting at their bar stool, and they never would have talked to each other, right?
Yep.
It's just crazy. That's the coolest part about the brewery. That's the coolest part, and we didn't do any of that. That part just happened. It's so cool.
And I do feel like that part. Okay, maybe not the sitting at the brewery part happened that quickly, but the people talking about Starving Artists, we gotta have a. I try that.
Have
sour.
A chaser, right?
Yeah, we gotta have a chaser with that sour.
I agree. I like your style.
The amount of people that. Hey, have you tried Starving Artist? Have you been to Starving Artist? Do you have any of the... I mean, it's so frequent. And if I'm going to pinpoint a thing where I would say, what a fucking savvy, straight-up gangster business move is that. It's keeping it...
It's crazy.
Right? But like the amount of people that are like, I'll fucking wait in line.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Like, I hear horror stories from other breweries of customer relations and people treating the wait staff like crap. And dude, I don't know what it is about our brewery. We don't get it. We don't get that. I can tell you in 8 years, I can tell you on one hand the times that we've had a customer that I wish would never come back. It's crazy. It's
really
crazy.
Well, you cultivated a good group of followers then.
Yeah, I mean, and I think being a destination, you end up with a certain demographic of people from all walks of life. But the demographic is they're seeking out something. Like they're seeking it out. They didn't just walk in.
Yeah.
Right. So you automatically end up with a person that they obviously want to be there because they went to the middle of nowhere to find you, right? But we just don't end up with. We don't end up with angry people. We don't, like you said, like it blows my mind that people will wait 20 minutes in line just to get a beer and have a smile on their face. It's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, we always try to yell to the back of the line, "Hey, we see you. Like we know you're here. Thank you for your patience." But still, it's crazy, right? Is that nuts?
It's nuts. It reminds me, on a smaller scale, of Ironfish. Mm-hmm. Out in the middle of nowhere.
I love Ironfish.
Dude.
I love that place.
Out in the middle of nowhere on a road you can't pronounce.
Oh, that's good too.
This is really fucking good.
Yeah, this is new to cans, man.
Cheers again, my friend. This is good.
Thank you so much, man.
And it's the perfect little deal. So it's the same thing like with Ironfish, where like somebody comes into the store and they're like, oh, looking at all the Ironfish stuff that we have. The first thing I say, or any members of my team say, have you been there? No. If they say no, it's like, God, it's 23 miles door to door from here. You got to go and check it out. And And on the reverse side of that is when somebody comes in and they ask me if I have Starving Artist. I'm going to keep coming back to this because it's a thing. No, I don't. Not in distro yet. But man, I was just there. I was just there, or I was there last month, or whatever. And this fucking place, it's down this road, and there's I didn't even know. I thought I was going in somebody's backyard, and I'm like, because you were.
Exactly. We always tell people when they get there. Well, first of all, I can tell you almost every time. I can tell you if it's a first timer.
Yeah.
By the way, they pull in the driveway. Are we gonna get shot? It's just there's a certain behavior of a first timer to Starving Artist that I just love, and you get that confused, this is it, this is what we've heard about,
Red Barn.
Yeah, but I was I've come up with certain sayings over the years. One, everybody asks why our hours suck so bad, right? And our answer to that is because we're a barn, not a bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're a barn, not a bar. But the other ones are, welcome to the shit show. People are like, wait, what? It's the company is awful, but the beer is wet. Right?
Yeah.
And it's so fun to kind of tease the new people, and then again they get their beer, and then they kind of get swarmed by the group, people that are out there, and all of a sudden they're talking to people. They'll come back up to the window and be like, "This is great." Right, so they get that super. I'm like, as soon as you hear the banjos, you found us, which is great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome, and I mean, I'm gonna press you on the growth part of it, though.
I know.
I got to do it a little bit. I got too many friends and customers of yours that want to know. If we can move the needle a little bit, and I think about,
and we are.
I know we are.
Yeah.
But when you said when you first got here, when you were texting me this morning. By the way, I am fucking juiced on creatine and pre-workout still. For those of you that are just watching, we were planning on having this at 6 o'clock at night, not 9 o'clock in the morning. I was at the gym, and Andy was like, "Hey, can we do it now?" And I'm like, "Yep, let's go." But then he said, "I got morning beers, so I came running in."
It's the struggles of a small brewery. You never know what your day is going to bring, and we walked into a cold water, and you can't brew with cold water. So So I'm thinking about that, going, okay, I get it. The guy is just like me. I have a 200,000-year-old building, and it comes with 200,000-year-old problems.
Yeah, dude.
Right.
It's
every day
is work today is what Band-Aid I'm going to put on the roof.
Yep.
Exactly. That's one of the things that we thought about, but we had such a great inspection too on this property. And I'm not talking shit about the property. The building is great, but it's old.
Right. So it comes with owning a historic building.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's I got to put money in this instead of the shit that I really want to put.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. So so I get it. I get that you're putting money out for things that some things you want to put money out for, some things you don't. Why can't this piece of equipment just fucking work one more year?
Right.
And it gets me to that point.
Exactly.
And you got to drain some of the
I don't want to do this yet. I want to. If we're gonna spend the money, I want to spend the good money and get a. Every time we brew, we're really really close. With Ludington Bay, Jamesport, Ludington Bay in particular. Corey saves my ass weekly.
Good shit.
It's every week I'm like, so do you got this?
Yeah.
It's so cool to have that relationship, and that again, kudos to the industry for being that collaborate, don't compete. All of our breweries are friends. They're not competitors. We know that we're all in it together. Finally got to brew with Corey on the big system, on the 20 barrel system. And man,
and that's something.
Bring back my guy, Mike. Get back to the brewery. I'm like, don't get any ideas. He's like, that wasn't brewing. He's like, we didn't even get wet. We didn't even wear our boots. And so in a perfect world, man, I'd have a system like that. That would just push buttons and watch it do its job. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We have buckets and old food barrels.
That is one cool thing about the craft beer industry, is to a certain level, it's a phone call.
Oh, dude,
because it's like one big massive community. When
100%, man.
Like you talk about Ludington Bay, bless his heart, I've been trying to get Tom Buchanan on the show because the stories
all right,
that
Tom,
that guy,
if you're listening, you got to do it. He's the beer father, man.
But he's like, we're texting him, like, "You ever consider being on the podcast?" He's like, "What's a podcast?" And then it's like, I don't know what to do, and I don't know.
Just tell him that you're gonna sit
have beers.
You're gonna sit and have beers and talk. That's it.
That's pretty much what I told him. I think he's still on the fence about it.
No, I'll talk to him.
Please do.
We need to get that.
So
I'll text him today and be like, no, you need to go on the podcast.
Isn't it wild to think that one guy has had so much influence?
Isn't that crazy?
Craft beer of Michigan.
And anywhere you go.
Anywhere.
From founders to,
they know him.
It's crazy. I remember pouring for Tom one year right when the Winter Beer Fest moved from Lansing to Grand Rapids. So it was the Michigan Brewers Guild second year of the Winter Beer Festival. And they had like a little thing before, they had a little thing before, and Tom was voted the best brewer in the state of Michigan by all the brewers.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And I mean, most of us we wouldn't be sitting here without Tom Buchanan.
No.
There's no way. No way. Tom is, I owe.
Under the radar.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, but you ask Stormcloud, you ask anybody in the greater western northern area, and you are going to, if you're a craft beer fanatic, then you know who Tom Buchanan is.
Dude, his ESB recipe.
Oh,
straight fucking fire.
The best beer on the planet. Tom's
so
ESB
good.
was my favorite beer. Number one favorite beer.
I love you for saying that.
In the world. Like, go make your in the world.
So good.
It was, Tom's ESB, so solid. Man, I'm so thankful for that guy.
Yeah, it took a little while for me to really kind of grasp how influential he was. I've known Tom for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
But it's only been in the last maybe 8 years or so that I've come to realize how important he was or is to Michigan brewers.
Holy shit, man.
Because being in this business and talking to gentlemen like you, brewery owners, brewers coming into the store, and they bring up Tom.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Tom helped me do this 30 years ago.
Exactly.
Or
I hated beer. And then Tom sat me down. He goes, we're going to drink a flight, and we're going to find something that you can drink. I'm like, all right. I just don't like beer. And it was Tom's English Mild. I'm like, you know what? I could drink that.
Yeah.
I could drink that. And that's the first beer that was like, okay, I could drink that. And now we're sitting here. Right?
Let me ask you, so like you said, you've had investors and stuff, and people come to you trying to offer you money to grow. How often does somebody come to you and say, would you brew for me? Stop doing what you're doing.
Oh,
because I got to feel like
interesting.
I feel like that's happened.
No, that's never
Really?
happened. No, and man, that is tempting. One of the breweries in Traverse City was hiring a head brewer at 65 a year. And Michelle's like, you wanna maybe think about it?
Hey, that's a good conversation,
right?
So that's when you start thinking about when your business is going to pay you. And pay you what you're worth.
Yeah. Oh. Well, any small business, right?
Yeah.
It's like having kids, right? You can't understand what it's like having a kid unless you have a kid.
Until you have a kid.
You can try and put that into any language, and there's no words of getting it through your head what it's like having a kid until you have a kid, right? That's the only way you will ever know. And I feel like it's the same thing with being a small business owner. There's no way you can relate. There's no way you can understand until you are one of us. It's just not possible to explain it to you what it, because there's the what it looks like on the outside, and then there's the what reality is.
Oh God, he's
right?
gotta be making a fucking killing.
Right, exactly.
Everybody wants this beer. Yeah, dude.
Right.
Oh my God.
And it's just I think and honestly I think knock on wood, I have great kids. But I actually think that being a small business owner is harder than raising kids. I think we have that maternal thing with kids, right?
Kids get to a certain age, they can take care of their own shit.
Right, and we can take them with us.
Yeah.
You know, like if we want to go to if we want to go somewhere tropical for vacation, our business is still back home and it still needs to be taken care of, right? You know,
dude, you get out of Lubbock about as much as I get out of Manistee, exactly. Which is fucking never. I was just like, we've been planning this podcast for a little while now, so there was a moment where like I texted you a couple months ago, hey, you want to come on the podcast? Yes, definitely. When do you want to do it? Then we talked like zero for over a month, and you're like, hey, I'm still interested.
We did it, dude. We did it.
We did it.
Persistence pays off, right? No, as small business, man, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? There's a point where you just have to do it to understand what it's like. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. Right? I love what I do.
I wouldn't. I'm at
the good and the bad.
The good and the bad.
There's days you wake up, I don't know, did you see that Facebook post when we were dumping that all the grain?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Hey.
That was one of the worst brew. That may be officially the worst brew day we've ever had. That was hell.
It's a lot of money.
Earth. Oh, money and frustration, and you're just. And it was the first day that I walked in the house. I told Michelle, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. It was the first time in 8 years. It was just so hard. But then the next morning, you brush yourself off. You're like, all right, let's figure out what went wrong. And, you get to have your down moment, but you got to get back up.
You got to get back up. Dude, and we have our downs here for sure. And it's refreshing to hear.
Right?
This conversation kind of gets me jacked up to do more.
Exactly.
Okay, what next? What next?
Like, okay, we're not alone, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We all have those days where it's like, is this really what we want to do for the rest of our life?
Well, I mean, I will
punch in and punch out and work real hard for somebody, and it's not my problem when I punch out.
There are days when I think about that, but then I'm like, God damn, to have somebody come in and be like, hey, you need to do this, and then I'd look at them like, are you telling me what to do?
Actually, you can do it. Right, exactly.
I really enjoy being my own boss.
I do too. It does not work well with others again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's new? What's on the horizon for Starving Artist?
Oh man, right now survival, man.
It's coming. You got 2 weeks since Memorial Weekend.
Had a great day. I know, and that's what my buddy Glover, who works for me or with me. I don't like to say works for me. Works with me.
Yeah. I feel you. I'm the same way.
Glover said the same thing. He goes, dude, you're 2 weeks away from. I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk about it. We'll get there. We're having so much. We're back. I feel like Starving Artist right now is back to square one of relearning a system, because we're trying to like tweak and fix, and everything's breaking, so we're fixing it. But I feel like we had a couple breweries, which was awesome. Couple of my favorite breweries stopped by randomly at the same time a week or two ago, and they're like, "What's good?" I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "Brewer to brewer, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, do you ever have those days where you like go down your tap line, you're like, why do people like this? Our beer sucks. Like this is horrible. Like I don't want to give like let me see if I got anything in the back that's like stashed away, because I don't want to give you anything that because I want to give you my best foot forward, right? And they're like, oh dude, we get it. Yeah, there's those days where you're just like, why and so I kind of got in that rut about a couple weeks ago. I'm like, man, we gotta So what's new is figuring out our system.
Yeah.
We got some fun stuff coming up. We're trying to orange, vanilla kind of creamsicle hazy thing. Like that's going to be out in a week or two. We've got a couple right now. Beautiful Mess that we're drinking right now.
Which is
I love this beer, dude. I love this beer. And so this is new to cans within the last couple months. Because we've been
4.5% crusher.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. I love this beer. But no, what's new? There's got to be something exciting, right? I mean, we're coming up to Beer Fest season, which doesn't mean a lot for me because I do 2 a year. I
mean, and I feel you. I know I was hitting you pretty hard last year for hops and props, but I totally get it. At the end of the day, it's like commit. Like how much can you commit to? Fuck, I'm the same way. It's like God.
I really feel like we need to get it out there that if people are looking to start another beer festival, because we're in a weird time in craft beer right now. Craft beer, I wouldn't say it's shaky, but it's kind of like if you're not making a hard seltzer or some kind of crazy smoothie beer that is so thick it can't pour out of a can.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I'm glad you said that.
It's if you're not making one of those two things, you're not popular, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, what happened? What happened to beer flavored beer? And I mean, I should not talk because
ice cream flavored beer.
We should not talk. We are very guilty of we're drinking the lavender oil. Okay, so no, I'm just a hypocrite. So
no, I understand what you're saying.
I feel like beer festivals need to find. I feel like beer festivals need to be beer festivals right? So it's not just a beer festival, because it used to be, back when we were getting into craft beer, way before the brewery, just being a craft beer geek. It used to be beer festivals where you're going to go meet the brewers and you're going to go try a beer that you've never had before, and you're going to try all these crazy things. And now beer festivals are
flagship
all the big
beers.
Guys are going to bring their flagships, and the only guys pouring are the reps or a volunteer you've never who doesn't know anything about beer at all.
Drives me fucking crazy.
Right? It's like so. It's like, well, and my logic is, and I guess I'm kind of on a soapbox. I'm sorry.
Oh, get on it.
But my logic is, which we have put to the most extreme test, is beer festivals now. I feel like you have like a half hour. To make an impact, and then everybody's drunk.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody remembers. I mean, or if not drunk, just sensory overload. Right? So you don't remember what you tried. You don't remember, so you can say, oh, remember that one, that orange lavender beer that was so good? Who did that? I don't remember. Right. So the whole point of investing all this money into beer festivals is to get that exposure.
Right.
But if you're not getting the exposure, and our extreme test is, if anybody's ever seen us at Burning Foot in Muskegon, which I love that festival because it's just all-day concert. Last year it was Filter.
Yeah, beer festival
right, beer festival and.
Yeah.
And we dress up like scary clowns, and we chase people around the beach. Last year we actually built a haunted house on the beach, right?
Sick.
Like full of animatronics and it was awesome. But the weekend after. The weekend after, we had a big group, and they're like, we've never heard of this place. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, they're like, well, do you do any beer festivals? I said, we do Burning Foot. They're like, we've been at Burning Foot every year. We've never seen you. I said, we're the scary clowns. You're the scary clowns. So they remember the scary clowns, but they still didn't remember that the scary clowns are Starving Artist, right?
Right.
So what is the value of doing all these beer festivals if nobody's going to remember what,
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of. I hope it's not negative.
No,
because it's just why we don't do as many, because the good parts are like. Didn't you say that Hops and Props is like one of the best days of the year for downtown?
Yeah, it is.
It is the best, or
one of the best.
Right? Yeah.
And
up there with Sleigh Bell and.
Right. Well, I wouldn't say it's up there with Sleigh Bell. I mean,
but it generates a lot of traffic.
It generates more than
so. There's a ton of good that beer festivals,
especially in September.
Right.
Yeah. But I would say this. Number one, I agree with you. I sat on the committee for Hops and Props last year, which is why I was kind of so vocal about the event. There's another layer to that. It's like, okay, so now there's added work for not only the breweries. It's added work for the distributor. There's added work for the retailers and the bars. All right, so like everybody wants a piece of the pot.
Yep.
Like how many floor displays can I have? Right. And how many tap takeovers can
a restaurant
have downtown? And it becomes more of it becomes more than what it really needs to be. And I think that these other events like Burning Foot or the big one that they have up in the UP, which is fucking rad.
I've heard. Have you been to it?
Yeah, one time.
Okay, I've never been. I've been told that is the one.
It's the one.
Like the one that you need to go to.
It's like a pilgrimage event.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And that.
I think now communities should probably look at doing a smaller beer with something event. I'm dovetailing off of what you're saying because I totally agree because we're not having Hops and Props this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
I know that's new, and this isn't going to be like breaking news, but there's
It's expensive and it's a lot
it's
of work.
expensive. It's a lot of work. Yeah, a lot of time. But I had a thought like into the maybe not. It's not going to happen this year, but maybe next year, maybe 2025. Doing a beer, like a Polish beer festival.
Yeah, sure.
Or like a German beer festival.
Yeah.
But then having like polka music and bratwurst and whatever. I mean, little events like that. Then you kind of become known for that like little thing
and
instead of trying
something
to organize like 50 breweries to come together.
And something that maybe is like a feature on Hyperlocal, right?
Hyperlocal is great.
It's only within a 100-mile radius of Manistee. We're going to have the breweries that fall into that circle because these are the breweries that you can visit easily in a day, right?
Yeah.
And doing something hyperlocal that's focusing on that locality and get the breweries to brew with local grain and do local,
right.
Something like that. That's again, it's the beer festival, but it's. Because I mean, when you go to these festivals now, I mean, what are the Brewers Guilds one up to? Like 400 breweries?
It's so many. You can't.
There's no way. There's no way.
Can't.
So and I get that you got a ton of people that are all spread out, and nobody has a problem getting rid of beer at those things. But at the same time, if I could go like the old ones where there's 25 breweries, like I could probably get one taste of all of those, right? If I had a DD.
If you had a DD.
But, it's something, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's, so we've just chosen the two that we do a year. We do Suds on the Shore because we've done it since the beginning.
Yeah, it's your back door.
But we even said no to the local Winterfest this last couple years because, again, we look at, and it's great to participate in local, and we do wherever we get a chance, where it makes sense for us. So I don't want to sound like a Scrooge at all, but we've just kind of saddled up on the if it's going to be a beer festival, we want I want it to be a blast for us if we're going to be there. I mean, that's just selfish, but I want to have fun.
Yeah, 100%.
So, B, it's just that added value of what is it? So I don't know. I'll shut up on that. I'm sorry.
Angel Feathers ready? This is one of those beers. It's like the first time I had Angel Feathers. I'm like, this is like a really good session. And then 2 beers later, I'm like,
this isn't a session. Dude, Angel Feathers has been my nemesis. So for anybody that saw that thing on Facebook, and if you're on Facebook and you haven't seen it, like scroll down on our page. It's not too far down. Of us, we have not been able to, with the new mash tun, and like there has been some reason that we have not been able to get Angel Feathers brewed for a solid 2 months, because the whole idea is our 4 main distro beers that we're going to do are the 2 that I brought today. So we're going to do CCR, we're going to do Beautiful Mess, the sour. We're going to do Blood Forge, which is
nice.
Everybody loves Blood Forge. It's our number one, and it always will be. And then we're gonna do Angel Feathers, because my idea was something dark, something sour, something fruity, and something hoppy, right? And I feel like those 4 beers are the best depiction of what you're gonna find if you come, put our best foot forward, right? These 4 beers are a great example of what you're gonna find when you come to Starving Artist. And part of why we haven't been able to get distro as fast as we want is because I can't fucking figure out how to get this beer brewed, and it is killing me, man.
You've only been brewing it for almost a decade.
I told the guys, I'm like, I feel like I'm a beginner. Like, I've got beer school. I'm teaching people how to brew this weekend, and I'm like, don't trust me. I can't even brew this beer. Like, it's so crazy how hard that beer is to brew. So that's the beer today. But again, it's like kind of cursed because cold water today. So we're gonna do a double batch today, and I hope to God that we're figuring it out. But 2 days ago when we did that double batch of CCR, I told the guys we poured a little 3-ounce cup. I'm like, come here. We're gonna do a toast, and we're gonna pay homage to the beer gods.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get them on our side this morning, so that they don't get angry at us later. We'll give them an offering. You'll pour one out for our homies, and like try to put some good juju back in the brewery, because I feel like we got some hauntings going on right now, and so Angel Feathers is coming. but man, it is giving me a run for my money. And I love that beer. I think that's the best beer we brew.
I love that beer.
I think
and a lot of people love that beer.
Absolutely think that's like, if I had to pick the one best beer we brew, I think it's Angel Feathers.
Well,
if I can brew it.
Yeah. I think all your beers are absolutely legit, and there's a ton of people out there that agree with me.
Man, thank you for that. But I can tell you plenty that we dumped one this week.
I think that just kind of happened with brewing.
Oh, yeah. When you have to be willing to get rid of it, right? Don't let people drink crap.
Well, I mean, and if you can't find it ahead of time, like if something's infected or...
Yeah, dump that shit.
Because I will say, there are some fucking breweries out there that just try to push some shit off.
Yeah.
And,
dude.
And a lot of us beer drinkers
know it.
With a sniff.
Yep.
And it's like, why are you doing this?
The brewery's no longer with us, but I'm not going to name the brewery because I just don't want to do that. But they closed a few years ago. But we had an experience like that right before we were opening. We were on an anniversary trip. Went to this brewery that was a fairly new brewery. I'd never heard of it. Went to the brewery. Looked through the windows, and they had a bunch of the equipment that we were thinking about buying. So I was like, oh, yes, this is great. I can talk to this guy and, see if he likes it, you know, because we were right at that. We need to buy the equipment part, So we go in. He gives us a little tour. And, we're talking about the equipment. He's like, yeah, it leaks a lot. I'm like, all right, call the manufacturer. And I'm like, hey, he says it leaks a lot. They're like, that's absolutely user error. I'm like, okay, that's fair, And then, so we sat down at the bar. I'm like, all right, can I just do it? Like, give me one of everything, a flight of whatever you got. And he had 5 beers on tap. He goes, well, our flights are 4, but I'll give you the extra one. And there was only one other couple sitting at the bar with us. And they said, oh, can we get they had a flight. They said, oh, can we get the extra one too? He goes, no, we don't do that here. And I'm like, dude.
Come on.
Dude, this is going to be their last time here.
Yeah.
Right? That's so shitty, man.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you, but not for you.
Yeah.
And so, you could almost see it when he was pouring the beers. There's a certain shade of green that it pours if it's infected, and you can tell by looking at it. It just doesn't look right. And I'm like, uh-oh. So out of the 5, 3 were infected. 1 was drinkable, and the other one was just absolutely awful recipe.
Yeah.
It was just terrible. And I'm like, I will... And so I pulled him aside. I said, hey, so these are infected? And he said, yeah, dude. He's like, but we have to sell it. He's like, we got to make money. I'm like, last time I've ever come in here.
Yeah, that's a lot,
That's... You know it's bad, and you're serving it to a customer. Shame on you, dude. That's horrible.
It's kind of... I wouldn't say it's rampant, but, I worked for a distributor back in the day that was like, hey, we've got these kegs. And they're renaming it because it was supposed to be this beer that everybody knows, and it tastes like shit. So they're renaming it to this. We got to get it on taps.
Literally,
gotta put it in the market, knowing it tastes like
crap.
Yes,
we're just gonna put a different name on it.
Yep.
Like, I have been guilty of 100% guilty of renaming a beer because, for instance, we have a beer that we were brewing to be called Space Haze. It's one of our new beers, right? So we get it into the bright, and it tastes great, but it's crystal clear.
Really?
Like the yeast dropped out. I'm like,
really?
We can't call this Space Haze. It's crystal. I get it. After a little while, it's going to drop.
Yeah, sure.
Eventually, right? Yeah, they're going to drop.
Absolutely.
But right out of the gate, it's got to be hazy for at least a few weeks.
It could be like Pepsi Clear. You could have just called it Space Clear.
Exactly. And so I'm like, well, and at that time we had a lot of times with what we do is with a couple of our artists, we will buy artwork before we even design the beer, right? So we'll design the beer based on the artwork,
so
right?
Awesome.
So Dark Fairy is one of my favorite beers that we brew. It's a porter with vanilla bean and blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, and it is so good. And we never would have brewed that beer if I hadn't bought that artwork. So I bought the artwork. I'm like, I love the artwork. So I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, if I saw this on the shelf, what would I think would be in this can, right? So it's a cool way to come up with the beer style. Mm-hmm. So fortunately for that one, so I'm coming clean on this. we had already bought another piece of artwork for a beer called Hop Dead, but we hadn't written a recipe yet. So
nice.
It was, well, these are both new beers. Nobody's ever had them. I guess this is Hop Dead now, and we'll go back to the drawing board for, so it's legitimately Hop Dead. The recipe will be the same, but
that's the universe, right?
Right. Like, it's just like it can't be Space Haze. So, but they were both good beers.
Yeah.
We didn't serve crap and name it something else. And we've had some that have been on the fence, because I feel like I've got a pretty good palate.
Yeah.
And there's been times where we'll be like, okay, well, what do we do with this? We got to figure this out. And then last weekend, I tested it with some customers, some of our regulars. I'm like, hey, I got something new, and the reviews were not great. I'm like, okay, that's all I need to know, and I dumped it down the drain. So, but it's cool that we have those customers that I can be like, hey, I got something new. What do you think? Like, ugh.
And what's cool about that is you're willing to accept that criticism.
Yeah, absolutely.
That feedback.
Yeah, if you don't like it, then we call it deer beer. We dump it in the backyard. Get the deer drunk.
Do you have an ETA for Bob?
Honestly, I just have to get the new pricing to Alliance, which I owed them weeks ago. So we're ready to roll with some of the beers, like Beautiful Mess, the CCR. We've already got enough canned. We could do that as soon as Alliance picks it up. So I think realistically, if we want all of them, if we want Blood Forge, Angel Feathers, we're probably a couple more weeks out.
Okay.
But if we want all four, but I think we're getting damn close to figuring out what's going on with the brewery, and then it's a go very, very soon.
I can't wait. Well, we're gonna
load
some
up cases of CCR.
Yes. Yes.
Because I can get you some cases of CCR.
Yeah. Yep. I do.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna take it all. So whatever you got going on, we're gonna take it because people clamor for it.
Well, that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be fun to get back on the market. We set a few kegs down to Heart Pizza the other day.
Fucking love Heart Pizza, dude. Heart Pizza.
Religion down there, man.
Yeah.
Religion. I love that place. Fred's. They're awesome people. They make a great product. They're very good at it.
And support.
Great, right, and support businesses. I love that place. So we sent some down. So one of the first times we've had our beer on tap in a very long time, and had an old guy come up from Heart, and he's like, I'm here for a beer. I had a Heart Pizza. I'm like, it's probably Blood Forge. Yeah. I'm like, I don't have any. I'm sorry. He's like, what? I'm like, oh, you know what? I do have a couple cans from the sample packs.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not a wasted trip. I'll hook you up, but
it's never a wasted trip when you go to Starving Artist. That's for sure. My God, Betsy and I have to make a pilgrimage to Home Depot or Lowe's soon.
Yes, agreed.
So we got to get a new washing machine.
We're like a minute, 2 minutes from Home Depot.
Dude, it's one of those things. It's like people don't believe me when I say I literally put on like 3,000 miles a year, and that's just driving back and forth to work.
Oh, I bet.
That's it.
I bet. Mine, I got to do an oil change after like 18 miles because I never leave my house.
So the time elapses, yes, but way before the miles do. And I got a newer truck, so it's telling me you need an oil change. I'm like, the fuck I do? There's no miles on this thing.
Sometimes I got to drive my truck around the block just to make sure it still starts. We never leave. Michelle has a salon in the house, and we've got the brewery, and my daughter can drive, so we never leave. It's crazy.
Well,
a tank of gas I think the last time I filled up was like 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Well, I do a little bit more driving, but I bet you I fill up once a month, and that's no bullshit. Twice if I got to go out of town.
Yep.
But it's super rare. I'm so looking forward to your online platform popping off because I think your product's going to be in a ton of places in Manistee County.
I'm pumped.
I know
man.
it.
I think just by nature too, it's going to start with the places that have always been good to us. Those are the contacts that I already have.
Yeah.
So you're going to go with those people first. And when other people jump on, that's great. But I'm going to focus my attention on the people who were good to us when we were in the distro game. Those are the first people that are going to get the phone calls and and I'm I don't know, man. It's new. It's like, will it work? I don't know, but
it could be the thing.
But the great thing is, I don't have to sell it. We'll sell it out of the barn eventually. Yeah. But I think
your app might be the thing that puts you to the next level.
Exactly, that's what
somebody might call you and be like, "Hey, man, I want to do that with my brewery."
I think you should.
$1 million.
That's what Michelle said. She's like, "You should probably see if you could build this app." Like, and, maybe that's where you're gonna. But right, because it's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Right. It's small brewery focused, where and don't get me wrong, I love my distributor. They have always been good to us. I got nothing bad to say about them. I love it, but they're still a distributor.
Yeah,
and there's a game that they have to play.
There's a lot of masters.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that's not the way I want to do it. And so Bob is a way to say, like, you guys still get to do it, right? Yeah. I'm not taking anything away from you. I'm just saying, tell your salespeople, don't worry about Starving Artist. Like, that's it.
Or worry about it a little
bit. But, yeah.
It's one of those things, like, as the old school salesperson in me, you keep some of those bullets in your bag, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, you're going to a fresh account and you're busting out samples. You could give them the run-of-the-mill, or you can give them the ones that are going to blow their face off once they put it in their mouth, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, here you go, this is Starving. You never had anything like this before. Try this. And that builds your brand, builds their trust in the
it's like, oh, I got this thing, and you can't, you might not be able to get it for a few weeks, it depends on if he's got it or not, kind of thing.
That's the way we're moving here at Manistee Beverage. We've linked up with some pretty unique distributors down here.
That's awesome.
We've been able to kind of cultivate, a line of products that you can't get anywhere else but here, which
is awesome.
It's awesome. It alienates some brands and they get a little pissy, but like your brands are in that category. So like once Starving Artist is available, let's be honest, it's not going to be everywhere right away.
No,
so
it's not.
It's not
by design. It's not.
Yeah,
right.
Which is
it's that mentality. I've had to debate with other breweries. There's the idea that you have to feed the demand.
Yeah.
I kind of take the side of, no, you have to create the demand.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's what we're trying to do. I'm just, you can chase it and then, like you said, like we were talking about earlier, call the bank and say, I need bigger tanks and I need, and then as soon as the sex appeal wears off on your brand, well, now you have all this volume and what are you going to do with all of it?
Yeah.
Right? We've seen that happen with a couple of Michigan breweries. I'm not going to name names again, but we've seen that happen where, like, the sex appeal is huge and you can't keep it on the shelf, but then 2-3 years later they're shelf turds.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that fine line.
And
it's a scary line. It's a scary line.
It is. So that's the thing that I'm scared of. In this situation, I want you to be able to say, hey, we got it back in.
Yeah.
And then you have a line of people that come in and then it's sold out and be like, sorry, we'll have it again in a couple weeks. Because
that's one of those interesting
idea of, like, it doesn't even hit the shelf.
Yeah.
It goes from the truck out the front door, right?
That's one of those.
That's what I'm trying to build.
Which is, I think to a certain point, it's very achievable.
It
is.
But I chose the hard road.
It's a super interesting conversation to have when I think to a certain extent, every small brewery has kind of the same, I want to build this thing where it's like, this shit's I'm just producing and selling it. And then it gets to a point where, okay, I need to get a canning line and I need to get it to the distributor and
Right.
And I'm not doing anything extra special.
Now you're in a factory.
Now I'm in a factory. And then you have some breweries, where I love Shorts Brewing Company.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of grew up on that beer.
Sure.
Huma Loopalicious.
They've got a huge following.
Yeah. Got me into the craft beer. I'm like, what the fuck is this I'm drinking the first time I had it? And Joe, his original, line was Michigan Forever.
Yeah.
Michigan only, Michigan Forever.
Right.
And then you get to a certain point and
You got to move that product.
Now we're going out of state.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful.
Oh,
I really do. I mean,
that's a success story.
That's a success story. So, again, that's that fine line. We're producing this amount of beer. We've moved throughout Michigan. Now we're going to other states. I mean, obviously, you're just kind of a regional deal right now, but how do you get to that? For me, I'm always like, God damn it! All right, now I just need to get to like fucking Muskegon, and then once I get to Muskegon, I'm in Grand Rapids, and then once I'm in Grand Rapids, I'm like, blah blah blah. Let's go. I think I lose it. I think
the cool part about doing it this way, and this because I think about that all the time. It's like, okay, well, can we service that large of an area?
Yeah.
Right, because they're the distributor's asking me, like, well, you're going to just be hyper local, right? I'm like, no, it doesn't matter. If they're in your distro area, they can get the beer. They're like, oh, I'm like, right. So if somebody in Kalamazoo wants it, they can get it just like anybody in Manistee wants it and can get it. And so I think that by doing it this way, you're not restricting the area that can buy it. You're restricting the amount they can buy.
Yeah.
Right. And and it is self-serving to an extent because I don't want that customer to come up to Starving Artist who made that 2-hour drive and be like, sorry, I don't have it right now. I mean, that's going to happen anyways, but I don't want to rob the person who is coming up to the barn because we had to get those cases down to Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Right. This is a way that we get to do both. And just by being upfront with the customer, on the retail side, being upfront and saying, look, this is what it is. We want to get back into distro, but we want to make sure you get the best quality product that we can give you. We want to make sure that that you have a good experience and that it's going to sell. We want and part of that is it's only going to be available when we have it.
Yeah.
Right. And so that way we get to keep our feet in both pools. And I'm sure it's not going to be a cakewalk. There's going to be issues, but it's been a 2-year building this thing to say like, and talking to reps, talking to beer reps because they're a very important part of the industry, right? And saying like, what do you think about this? Like, well, you're kind of taking our job. No, like not really, because you get into we don't want you to take that tap because that's a real good tap for us. I'm like, sure, but that's a you problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was okay. Well, now we have to, as part of the application to fill it out, I need to get your rep's name, so that the rep is now part of the conversation, right? So it's hey, James ordered 4 cases of CCR. I don't know if it's Johnny or who you got up here, but it's
Johnny.
Yeah. So it's hey Johnny, just to let you know, James has got four cases of CCR coming. Just keep an eye out for me. And so then that way they're part of the conversation. Yeah. And so that it's been building this thing by getting that feedback from so no, like not taking anybody's job, not doing anything.
I don't think you are taking anybody's job, because if I look at it like from a liquor standpoint, that there are no liquor. I mean, there are liquor reps, but they don't like come in here and do the orders and look at the shelves and all that bullshit. They come in here with product, and they say, hey, you should try this. This is what we got coming up. Have you ever sampled this? The same thing with the beer guys. I mean, I would love, if I was still in the beer business, if I was still repping beer, to not have to push a button to sell 400 cases someplace. You know what I mean? If I could just come in with a bag of bullets and be like, hey, this is what we're sampling today. You've already got all the other stuff, which is great.
Exactly.
Here's some new shit. Let's try this. Let's talk about this. Let's put up some point of sale, maybe build a display. That's the way to go, dude. I mean, that's how you build business.
Right.
And build rapport.
And this is maybe counterproductive, but I'm a small business owner. I know what it's like when somebody knocks on your door out of the blue, and it's like, you know what? Let me stop everything I'm doing so I can listen to whatever it is you're trying to sell me, right? Nobody's ever going to approach you with your best interest in mind, right? So I get that. That's also why I love this method for us is we're going to drop off, we're going to walk in. I'm going to drop off a sheet that explains what Bob is. I'm going to drop off a 4-pack and say, if you're interested, great. If not, enjoy the beer. That kind of thing. Because and we've already had a couple people that said, "Hey, we missed you." I'm like, "Yeah, that was intentional." Like, I'm not here to bug you.
Yeah.
You know, our product should speak for itself. You know, and I'm sure if it's fairly local, that you've probably heard of the brand now, which is awesome,
for sure.
Right? You know, and that kind of thing. So it's just a different mentality of sales. And again, I'm not the greatest salesperson that's ever lived.
I think you're doing a pretty good fucking job right now.
I'm not the greatest salesperson, and that's why we're always going to be starving artists. But I am a small business owner. I know what it's like. You know, it's like you don't want to just stop whatever you're doing for and get. So talking to one of the restaurant owners down south, and she's like, well, next time you're in, just ask for me. I'm like, I will never stop in without letting you know first if I want to talk to you, like ever. I don't want to waste your time. You know, I think our beer could sell well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste your time. You know, that's part of what Bob is too. I don't know, man. I'm crazy.
No, I think
crazy.
you're spot on. Your intentionality, if that's even a word, of what you're trying to do is going to just.
I think it's going to be interesting, right? It's something new.
Dig it,
right? It's something
people
new. And if people don't, a couple people are just old school. And they're
your barrel programs and shit, like we hadn't even fucking touched on, dude. I mean, that's the kind of wild changer, shit where it's like,
that was a game changer. That was that was a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, that was dropped to our knees. You know, forced to shut down during a pandemic, and what the hell are we gonna do? Like,
so
we need to make money, man.
Like little snaps when something happens and you have to pivot.
Right.
And you did it. You didn't. I mean, if you panicked, nobody saw it, and you moved in a direction that was so fucking on point.
Dude, the Bale Shield project was. I walked in and I told Michelle, I'm like, okay. I'm like, if this works, we'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
And not only did it work, it became a whole
it's a thing. It's a thing, dude.
It's crazy. We have another barrel share party next week, and that was probably one of the best ideas we ever came up with it's not a new idea. It's kind of robbing like wine futures or liquor. You can buy futures and whiskey barrels, right?
You don't have to rewrite the game plan.
No, you just got to change it a little.
Yeah.
Right. And it ended up just, man. Who knew? That was a blessing. That was a blessing. COVID actually helped us. COVID was a good year.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the sense of the obvious.
Yeah.
But when you're forced to be creative, and, it's either you're either gonna take the hit or you're gonna change the game.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Right. And it's crazy.
I gotta say, we'll wrap this up, and I gotta say that number one, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Well, I mean,
and thanks for being so flexible this morning.
I mean, thanks for coming, because I get it. I don't leave Manistee.
Yep.
But I want you to know that I'm over the moon proud of you. You're doing some amazing things with Starving Artist. I wish I could get down to Ludington more. I say that like it's such a burden, but at the end of the day, you're a family guy.
Yep.
There's a reason why you're doing what you're doing with your family. It's the same with me. I punch in, I punch out,
yep.
I go home.
Yep, absolutely.
But we're going to make that pilgrimage. We're going to come down. Betsy and I are going to come down. We're going to hang. I'd love to go out to dinner with you and your bride.
Absolutely.
So many things. But I know you're busy, but this isn't like a big Homer fest here. But I want you to know that I follow you religiously online.
Dude, the feeling is absolutely
your lives
mutual.
are fucking money. Do more of them. I think they're great. I love what you're doing. I think I've already said that. Jesus Christ. But anyways, keep up the good work, and I know there's nothing but great things for you in your future, dude. And I want to be a part of it.
I love you, man. The feeling is absolutely mutual, awesome. Man. I can't wait to get our beer up here, and it's been a long time.
Let's go.
Long time coming, man.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Awesome, man.